Hello friends, welcome back. My name is Ramon. How are you today? In today's video, I'm going to be talking about something that I found to be a necessary topic. Question mark. I've noticed a lot of conflict recently on social media, especially with people going onto an influencer's post and tagging a different influencer in the comments being like, oh, what do you think about this? Or, oh, look at this person saying this, which is kind of opposite of what you normally say, like call them out. And me being like, that's really not necessary because there's different people in the skincare world that are on social media to talk about their opinions, their styles, their skincare philosophies. It's not all going to be a very unanimous thing. We can all have opinions on skincare and skin related things without it being a need for conflict necessarily. Open discussion, yes. Conflict, no. But basically what it boils down to is the kind of content that we put on our pages and the kind of information we wish to share just because of what we want out of our skincare or our angle in the skincare community, whether it's being skincare fanatics, formulators and chemists, estheticians, or even dermatologists. Each of us is going to share information, knowledge, and reviews based on what it is we look for and what we want in skincare. Today's video is going to be a hot takes and hotcakes, where I basically eat on camera in the style of a mukbang, aka hotcakes, but also share an opinion I have or a hot take in regards to a specific topic. So today we're talking about skincare philosophies on social media. My friend Mary was like, we need to see the food as you're eating it, so I'm going to make sure that ideally you can see the food as I'm eating it. What I'm going to say for each section of the video is kind of more of a generalization of what I've noticed on each subsect's main point of view or what they mainly talk about on their social media channels. It is no way demeaning one or choosing one over the other. Each of us brings a specific point of view and specific knowledge and information into the skincare world. I've learned from each different subsect of people. This is me kind of just pointing out what each group tends to focus on more or what they tend to talk about the most on their channel. So my four main subsects are going to be dermatologists, estheticians, formulators, and skincare fanatics. Kind of going to go down each one and talk about like what I feel like they each focus on and what their primary role in the skincare world is. First and foremost, dermatologists. So dermatologists are literally doctors. They're skin doctors. They're the ones primarily that are able to diagnose specific skin ailments and skin diseases. That is, I think, what sets them apart the most from estheticians, besides just all the schooling and all the training and all the like medical background that they have. Estheticians and dermatologists are both experts in skin. They just kind of tailor that in different ways, if that makes sense. What I noticed more about dermatologists that I follow on social media is that they tend to err more on the side of caution when it comes to recommending skincare, talking about skincare. First of all, none of them on their channels really diagnose anything. They just talk about specific skin concerns, skin products, but they're not there to diagnose and treat everyone that comments on their post or whatever. But they talk about things that they see or things that they have to experience or things they have opinions on in terms of skin conditions or skin concerns. And so I see a lot of dermatologists really err on the side of recommending products that are going to be the most universally usable, the most sensitive skin friendly. I find that a lot of dermatologists I follow, they're like, if something has even the remotest likelihood of causing irritation or sensitivity in the skin, I'm not going to recommend it for my clients because there's the danger involved with that potentially. For me, what I think of when I think of dermatologists is I feel like what they see most times is the worst case scenario so frequently come through their offices. Therefore, they recommend products with the least risk of irritation and sensitivity for the skin, even if the risk for that actual thing is so small in the grand scheme of things like fragrance. In reality, the amount of people that have sensitivity and irritation to fragrance is so small, but because that's really what dermatologists solely see in regards to fragrance, they have this perspective, I feel, that they're like, you know what, if this is a situation that happens and they're getting to my office because of this, I'm not going to recommend this product because of fragrance. I'm not going to recommend that ingredient if it's fragrance or whatever else it might be. I just find that dermatologists a lot of times are very much black and white, and they may talk about the reality of the situation. For example, like the actual probability of sensitivity to X, Y, or Z is so small, but because I don't want to risk it, I'm just going to say overall, I don't want that. I don't recommend it. They also have studies that they refer to back that up, but I find dermatologists overall, they just choose to be more black and white, err on the side of caution, not really risk anything. Next on the list I have is estheticians. And estheticians, again, they're licensed professionals that deal with skin related concerns and skin overall. They're able to give you a lot of treatments, whether it's facials, peels, massages, whatnot. Estheticians are other professionals in the skincare treatment phase. They can refer you to a dermatologist even. And overall, what I really noticed is that they are able to really recommend more thorough, well-rounded routines. They have a lot more product knowledge. I feel like they don't necessarily err on the side of caution the way dermatologists do. They consider a lot more products based off what your specific skin concerns are. I find estheticians to be really, really well versed in skincare ingredients as well. So they have a really wide knowledge of skin ingredients, what concerns they address, what benefits they can give. And also estheticians are a lot more readily accessible to people. In order to go to a dermatologist, a lot of times you have to get a referral. It's more expensive if you're not insured, especially. They're a lot easier to access and therefore they're easier to see, and therefore they're a lot more common to see practicing. But yeah, overall, when I see estheticians talk about skincare products or routines, they're coming from experience experience. They're coming from knowledge. They know what products can do. They know what ingredients are going to be good for what skin types and skin concerns. So the recommendations they're giving are really, really well-rounded, really well thought out. They are professionals. They're really well respected. My thing is people going in their comments and asking for diagnosis and stuff like that when that's not necessarily what they do. And also they're just on social media to give their advice, give some education, give some feedback. They're not there to diagnose. Also, you can find estheticians that focus on specific skin concerns or skin types. You have people like Sean Garrett and LA Beautyologist Nye, who tailor a lot of their stuff to like black skin, melanated skin, skin concerns that regard those specific skin types in that field, just because there's not a lot of people that are specifically trained to treat black skin, which is in itself an issue, but also skin concerns and skin issues look very different on deep skin than they do for light skin. You also have estheticians that deal specifically with hyperpigmentation, with acne, especially in specific skin types and skin tones. You can find a lot of variants in that esthetician field. Next on the list is cosmetic formulators and chemists, which is where I classify myself as. I'm a biochemistry student. I'm about to start a cosmetic sciences program. I aspire to be a cosmetic formulator working in product development and innovation, specifically for sunscreens, specifically for dark skin types. But basically, we look at ingredients, we look at formulations, we look at how it affects cell biology, professionals that focus on the chemistry and the biology behind specific ingredients and how they work in formulations and how they're going to work together. And plus, we have to focus on a lot of other things when it comes to developing products, whether it's what specific ingredients are in it, how they work together, what pH, what preservatives are we using, that kind of stuff. Also, we have to consider what's safe to use and what's legal to use in specific countries based off regulations and that kind of stuff too. So especially for me, when I look at products, I'm looking at what's in an ingredient list, what benefits those are going to give to the skin, how they work, how it's going to pair with other ingredients in that formulation to factor in who is this best for, what demographic is this best suited for. And that's what I try to do with my kind of content, is focus more on ingredients and formulation and try to give that education to people on a more simple level. And last but not least, you have skincare aficionados. And these are people who just genuinely love skincare. They're obsessed with skincare, ingredients, products, what they do for the skin. And I'm gonna be honest and say a lot of people in the skincare world, from chemists and formulators to estheticians to dermatologists, we all pretty much start, I feel like, in this range where we have such an interest in skin. We want to learn about skin, taking care of skin, treating skin. That's how we get into it. And while technically we can each belong to one subsect, I feel like at the end of the day, we're always coming back to being a skincare aficionado. And we all find information and find studies and find research stuff online that we want to share, really have thorough discussions about. And that's one of the really cool things about being a skincare influencer now, is that there's this community of people that we are genuinely like really friendly, really warm. We always interact with each other, have discussions about things. And like, that's the thing. We all have had to come and learn through the process of trial and error or from learning from others. And so it's like, why not share that information? Why not like be this community that actually works together in synergy with each other to just work for the common good? And that brings me to my next point, is what you need to consider when it comes to looking at information and following people. Everyone's skin is different. You have to consider when you're reading a product review, who the person is, what their skin type is, what their skin concern is, but not only that, but also what their budget is, what their environment is, what their daily life is. Just because a product works for someone doesn't mean it's going to work for you for any of those variables or any of those specific reasons. Also, you can also follow someone just because you like them as a person and not 100% agree with their skincare philosophy. There's a lot of skincare influencers who I love to follow, and there's certain things they say that I don't necessarily agree with, but it's not wrong necessarily. It's just their opinion on skincare based off their experience, their skin type. That's okay. What it gets into the issue of is just fear mongering or specifically saying wrong information and miseducating altogether. That's where I draw a line, but in reality, like, just because someone likes something else for a different reason doesn't mean it's wrong and that I have to disagree with them altogether, right? So my skincare philosophy as an individual is, again, I'm a student studying to be a cosmetic formulator. I really want to work in formulation and innovation, specifically in a sunscreen fields. When I'm looking at products, I'm looking at, again, ingredients, what's in a product, what benefits it gives, how it works in synergy with all the other ingredients in the formulation, and what skin type is going to benefit the most or what skin concern is going to benefit the most. But that being said, I'm also going to consider other factors too, because I want to enjoy my skincare. I like the feel, the texture, the smell of things. I love a sensorial experience. So there's a lot of things that go into effect, especially when you're looking at things from a formulation perspective. You have to look at things from a marketing perspective. What do customers themselves want? What is it that people are looking for? What is the need in the market right now? And so there's a lot of things that go into reviews and things that I like when I'm looking at things, as well as when I'm studying right now to get into the field I want to get into. That being said, I've also spent a lot of my skincare journey trying to like get perfect skin, because I had really bad acne. Now that I have fairly clear skin, my perspective of what perfect skin is now is very different. For me, it's just having healthy skin. You can see right now I have breakouts. And this is something that back in the day, even a year and a half ago, I wouldn't leave the house looking like this. I'd have to put on makeup, hide this, whatnot. But now I'm like, I do a lot to nourish my skin, to give my skin what it needs. I do a lot to give it hydration, and I do treatment still, but I don't strip my skin. I realize that my skin's just gonna be my skin. For me now, striving for perfect skin is just making sure that I'm happy with how I look. My skin has the nourishment it needs, as well as making sure I'm wearing sunscreen every day. So having a different perspective on how I do things and what reviews I like to post, what reviews I like to even read, and what my skin concerns and skin goals are is okay. And someone else having a different perspective altogether on their skin and what they like is okay too. What's not okay is starting to tag other creators in a certain creator's post because, oh, this person said that these sunscreen filters are bad, but you like them. And so like, why aren't you? I saw someone tag another creator in a certain creator's post being like, oh, you're friends, but they're saying something completely different to what you believe in. Why aren't you gonna call them out? And both of those creators were in the comments like, we are adults. We can have different opinions. What each of us is saying isn't wrong. It's just our personal perspectives on skincare. And so you have to understand, we're not in this to like combat each other and to have conflict. Like, we all talk to each other. Know that now. We can have difference of opinion. That's okay. And so understand where you're coming in is that you don't have to follow every single person for what they believe in. You don't have to agree 100% with a person's skincare philosophy, so long as they're not spewing misinformation. You know, recently, I think the big thing was fragrance and people being like, oh, well, this person said fragrance is bad and I don't like fragrance and fragrance can be sensitizing. And then you start getting people throwing in studies being like, well, actually fragrance isn't all that bad. But then this person who's a doctor is saying all this stuff. If you like something, you like something. You can enjoy skincare. Skincare can be fun to use as much as it is effective for you. It doesn't even have to be effective in that sense. As long as it's not causing damage to your skin, that's okay. Just understand where you're coming in, what your perspective is. Doesn't have to be the overarching rule. Yes, fragrance has been proven to be sensitizing to a small percentage of people, but overall, apparently a big market demand is having scent in skincare. People want to have a sensorial experience when they're using their skincare. And that in itself is okay. Just find products that you like that work for you that don't include fragrance and skincare and let me have fun with mine. As long as the product isn't causing very direct harm to your skin, i.e. incorrectly using a very strong exfoliating peel and you're going to compromise your skin barrier as a result of that, I'm not going to stop you. Use your fragrance product, use your mineral filters, use whatever you want to use, so long as you're happy to use it and it gives you a benefit that you like. And that being said, one of the big things that I personally firmly believe in that goes against a lot of other people is I don't like mineral sunscreen filters. I find that they actually sensitize my skin. If I use a sunscreen that has zinc oxide repetitively, consecutively over a few days span, I find my skin gets really, really irritated and compromised. I find my skin gets really, really dehydrated and dry, and it starts to sting when I apply other things on top of it. I don't like mineral sunscreen filters on my skin. And that's a sunscreen filter that's supposed to be the good sunscreen filter for sensitive skin, but it doesn't work for my skin. And that's okay. That's how that is for me. And that's not to say that it's bad for everyone. That being said, I also love fragrance, and it's in a lot of products that I use regularly in my skincare routine. Not every product I use has fragrance, but a few of them that are holy grails do. My skin hasn't had an issue with it, but I respect and understand if people have sensitivity to them. And so that's why I always include the fact that my favorite skincare products may have fragrance or may have alcohol, so they're not suited for everyone, but I still like them. Also, I will fight tooth and nail against the stigma and the fear mongering around chemical sunscreens. I understand where it's stemming from, but I got studies too. I think the most important thing and what I factor all of my content around is the fact that I want sunscreen, skincare, formulation, ingredients-based information tailored for BIPOC. I tailor most of my skincare content to Black, Indigenous, and people of color. Yes, my content is technically for everyone. Anyone can watch my videos and get something, learn something, find product reviews that are going to work for their skin. But all of the content that I create, that I post on my social media channels, is geared towards giving ingredients and formula-based knowledge to a group of people who are underrepresented and not heavily catered to in the cosmetic and skincare industry. One of my favorite things to do is the Cassandra Bankson turn and learn technique, in that you ignore the marketing on the front of a package, turn around and read the ingredients list to see what ingredients are in a product. And I just really want to inform people how to read an ingredients list, how to recognize what ingredients are in a formulation, how that's going to benefit their specific skin type, to know that if that product is going to work for their skin concerns and their skin type, as well as just to see like what else is in a formulation, to know how it's going to work together with all their other skincare, how it's going to boost, amplify, fortify, or stabilize other ingredients in a formulation. This is information that I feel is very useful for people to learn and to know, and I feel like Black, Indigenous, and people of color I feel like a lot of this content doesn't exist for them and it's not catered to them. And so that's why my skincare videos, my ingredients-based knowledge is based towards those individuals and those groups of people. So at the end, basically do us all a favor, Stop tagging us in other people's content to try and instigate some kind of conflict. I'm going to be honest and say the skincare community has been some of the most friendliest, warmest reception I've ever gotten. We all do talk to each other. We comment on each other's posts, engage with each other on social media forums, we watch each other's videos, and we're not here to fight. We recognize each other having different opinions and perspective on skincare, but overall, we just want to stand for the common good in skincare and make sure that what information we're giving out is going to be most beneficial for everyone based on their skin concerns. And remember, you can support wherever you want. You can support a varying group of people and content creators, even if they do have different opinions on certain ingredients or philosophies in skincare, as long as you're taking into context what you yourself believe, what you yourself will benefit from, and what's going to be best for your skin overall. We're all different people. We all have different skin and different skin types. What I will say is that everyone should be wearing sunscreen, and that's the end of that conversation. So, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you hit the notification bell and that subscribe button so that you know when I post more hot takes and hotcakes. Give this video a thumbs up if you thought the information was useful and you personally agree with it or have an opinion about it. And down below, what is your skincare philosophy? What's something that you feel that you personally stand for the most? What's your conviction? Do you have any thoughts that I didn't share in this video? Let me know. Thanks for watching, guys.